Hello friends, before we begin the story, don't forget to like this video and click on the subscribe button so you never miss another inspiring story from Inspired Voice. They say the greatest lessons in life rarely arrive wrapped in gold or written in books. Sometimes they come quietly, disguised in the most ordinary moments, like a bus ride through a busy city morning. The kind of moment you might forget by noon, unless it changes your life forever. It was an icy Tuesday morning in Chicago, the kind where the wind whips around tall buildings like it has a personal vendetta against everyone walking to work. Commuters huddled in thick coats, shoulders hunched, coffee cups clutched tightly, waiting at the bus stop on State Street. Among them was Marcus. He was 28 years old, an ambitious young man with eyes that carried both exhaustion and hope. He wasn't wealthy, not by any stretch. He worked long shifts at a diner during the day and stocked shelves overnight at a local store. Yet, beneath all that tiredness, Marcus carried something more powerful than money, a dream. For years, Marcus had been sketching ideas on scraps of paper during his breaks, dreaming of starting his own business, something that could help his community, while also freeing him from the cycle of paycheck-to-paycheck survival. And on that very morning, hidden inside his worn-out jacket pocket, was the seed of that dream, an envelope containing a small loan check he had finally secured from a community bank. It wasn't much, just enough to get started. But for Marcus, it felt like a golden ticket, the key to a future he'd been fighting for since his teenage years. As Marcus stepped onto the number 22 bus, his breath visible in the cold air, he found a seat near the middle, the warmth of the bus wrapped around him like a blanket. And for the first time in a long while, he allowed himself to relax. He touched the envelope in his pocket, pressing it against his chest as though making sure it was real. In that folded piece of paper lay his chance to build a food delivery service for local neighborhoods. A business he believed could give working families affordable, healthy meals delivered right to their doors. He imagined the logo, the vans, the team of drivers he would one day hire. He could almost see it unfolding before him like a movie in his mind. The thought made him smile. For Marcus, this wasn't just about money. It was about dignity, about creating something that belonged to him, something his younger siblings could look up to. For once, hope outweighed his worries. But fate, as it often does, decided to test him. As the bus lurched forward with a sudden jolt, Marcus shifted in his seat. The envelope slipped unnoticed from his jacket pocket and slid to the floor. He didn't feel it. He didn't see it. But someone else did. Across the aisle sat an older man, his hands rough and weathered, his jacket frayed at the cuffs. His face told stories of years, maybe decades, of hard living in the city. His eyes followed the envelope as it landed near his boots. Slowly, quietly, he bent down and picked it up. Marcus, meanwhile, was lost in thought, staring out the window at the gray Chicago skyline, rehearsing in his mind how he would pitch his idea to local vendors. Minutes passed before he instinctively reached into his pocket to check, to reassure himself. His heart skipped. The envelope wasn't there. At first, he thought maybe he had misplaced it. He patted his other pockets. Nothing. His hands trembled. A wave of panic surged through him as realization struck. His dream, his only shot at building something of his own, was gone. His eyes darted around the bus floor, searching desperately. Beads of sweat formed on his forehead despite the winter chill. His breathing grew shallow. No, it can't be, he whispered under his breath. The people around him barely noticed. Some scrolling on their phones, some staring blankly out the window, others half asleep. But one pair of eyes had been watching all along, the old man who now held the envelope in his hands. Marcus stood up suddenly, his voice tight with fear. Excuse me. Has anyone seen an envelope? It must have fallen. Please, it's really important. A few passengers glanced up briefly, then returned to their phones and conversations. The bus hummed forward, indifferent to his desperation. The old man across the aisle looked down at the envelope in his weathered hands, then slowly rose from his seat. He walked over to Marcus and extended his arm. You mean this one? He asked, his voice gravelly yet calm. Marcus's eyes widened. Relief flooded through him, so fast his knees almost gave way. He snatched the envelope with shaking hands and clutched it to his chest. Oh my God! Thank you. You have no idea. This is everything to me." The man gave a faint smile, his eyes carrying a depth Marcus couldn't quite read. "I think I do," the old man said quietly. "But let me tell you something, son. What you're holding, that piece of paper, it's worth something, yes. But what matters more is the trust you just place in the world. That's worth far more than any loan." Marcus blinked, confused. He had no idea what the man meant. To him, this envelope was his future. The old man motioned for Marcus to sit. "Mind if I tell you a story? It won't take long. And believe me, it's one you'll remember." Marcus hesitated, then nodded. The bus rattled along as the old man began speaking, his voice carrying the weight of years gone by. "I wasn't always riding buses like this," the old man began, staring out the window as if replaying memories only he could see. 30 years ago, I owned 3 grocery stores right here in Chicago. Business was good, real good. People trusted me, shopped with me, brought their kids in on weekends. I was known in the neighborhood." Marcus listened intently, clutching his envelope, sensing there was more. But then the man sighed. "I started chasing every dollar I could. I raised prices because I thought I could. I cut corners on quality. I forgot that families weren't just customers. They were people who trusted me with their food, their health, their hard-earned pay. I saw dollar signs instead of faces. And slowly, that trust disappeared. People stopped coming. One by one, the stores closed. The money vanished. The friends vanished. And do you know what was left?" Marcus shook his head. "Nothing," the old man said softly. "Nothing but regret. You see, son, you can build a business on money, but you can only keep it with trust. Lose that, and no amount of cash will save you." The bus grew quiet around them, as if even the city noise had paused to let the words sink in. Marcus swallowed hard. The man's story cut him deeper than he expected. He thought of his own dream, his delivery service, and how he had already been sketching out ways to maximize profit. He had once asked himself, "Will people trust me? Will they believe I'm here to serve them?" The old man placed a hand gently on Marcus's shoulder. "You're young. You've got time to do it right. Don't repeat my mistake. Build on trust, and the money will follow. Build on greed, and you'll lose both." Marcus sat back in his seat, the envelope still clutched tightly in his hands. But it no longer felt the same. A moment ago, it had been everything, the single measure of his future. But now, the old man's words echoed louder than the numbers written on that check. He realized something. Money could give him a start, but only values could give him staying power. If he wanted his business to survive, if he wanted to build something lasting, it couldn't just be about profits. It had to be about people. The bus slowed at the next stop. The old man stood, gripping the rail for balance. As he stepped toward the door, he turned back to Marcus with a faint smile. "Remember, son, people don't remember prices. They remember how you made them feel. Build on that." And with that, he was gone, disappearing into the busy Chicago streets, swallowed by the crowd. Marcus sat there, silent, his mind racing. He had boarded the bus that morning thinking he was carrying the most important thing in the world inside his pocket. But as the wheels rolled forward and the city blurred past his window, he realized a real million-dollar lesson had been handed to him by a stranger. Months passed, and Marcus launched his food delivery service. But he ran it differently than most. He prioritized honesty, quality, and service over quick profits. He made sure deliveries were always on time, meals were fresh, and if mistakes happened, he personally called customers to make it right. Word spread, not just about the food, but about Marcus himself. Families said, "You can trust him. He cares." And slowly, his business grew. Not overnight, not in a flashy way, but steadily, in a way that lasted. Years later, Marcus would look back on that bus ride and realize it wasn't a check that changed his life. It was a wrinkled hand offering back an envelope and the wisdom that came with it. Friends, remember this. Money may open doors, but trust keeps them open. You can start a dream with a loan, a paycheck, or an opportunity. But the true wealth of life lies in honesty, service, and integrity. Without those, even the greatest success will eventually crumble. So the next time you chase a goal, pause and ask yourself, Am I chasing just money, or am I building trust? Because the truth is, the real million-dollar lesson is not about how much you earn, but how much you give, how much you care, and how deeply people can believe in you. And before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Inspired Voice, because every story we share could be the spark that transforms your own journey. Stay inspired, stay true, and remember, sometimes the smallest encounters carry the biggest lessons.